That uniqueness of Asia income that really allows you to be resilient whether markets are going up or down or sideways. And that's especially so now when, there's some days you don't even know which way the market's going.
Hi viewers, and welcome to episode 3 of Unscripted, in conversation with Eastspring Investments, where we give you everything macro markets and investing related. I'm so pleased today to have a wonderful and lovely colleague, Christina Woon, who's the portfolio manager for our Asia equity income strategy. Welcome, Christina. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you, TGIF. All right, well, let's take a walk and talk. So, Christina, we're coming out of U.S. exceptionalism, tons of animal spirits on Mag 7 and growth. How do you think about the balance for investors between growth and income? Let's talk about that first.
Sure, it's a really good question because, I think it's a common misconception that growth and income are either or.
Yeah.
See, I don't believe that.
Right.
We're fortunate enough to be operating in a market like Asia where the universe is deep and diverse.
Yeah.
Can we find companies that can deliver both earnings and dividends growth?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. The important thing is to not let yourselves be limited by preconceived notions of what an investment should look like.
Correct.
And if you can find growth and income on a risk-adjusted basis, you should go for it.
That's a fantastic point, because generally investors just kind of think of income and they just think it's boring, dull stocks, etc. So that's a great perspective. So when you talk about, Christina, about income and dividends, are dividends the defense against volatility? And how do you help us break that down as well, please?
Sure. So the way I would think about it is that the safety of Asia income lies in the fact that it's a versatile tool, like a Swiss Army knife, if you will. It can serve you in many occasions.
Yeah. And
the reason for that is because it gives you returns on multiple time frames. The income part of Asia income gives you more immediate and regular returns through dividends, whereas the Asia part gives you the potential for longer-term capital appreciation if you pick your stocks well and construct your portfolio well. And it's that uniqueness of Asia income that really allows you to be resilient whether markets are going up or down or sideways. And that's especially so now when, there's some days you don't even know which way the market's going.
Yes, absolutely. I can begin to imagine how challenging it's been for people managing money in the last few weeks. But that's a great perspective. Let's dive a little bit into the strategy that you run that we have a high conviction on, and I know you've been talking about it across multiple media. So Asia equity income, how do you set your strategy apart from other equity income strategies out there?
Sure. I would say that here at Eastspring, we're really trying to challenge the norm of what income investing looks like.
Right.
It doesn't have to be one-dimensional. It doesn't have to come at the cost of alpha. And we're lucky enough to operate on a platform that has time-tested capabilities across different styles.
Mm-hmm.
And as we discussed before, in a market that is deep and diverse, where income and alpha are not mutually exclusive. So from my perspective, why not try to have your cake and eat it too?
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. And so what you're saying is, looking at the Asia landscape, there is absolutely a blend, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm saying this unscripted, and you're far smarter than I am. So the blend between growth opportunities and growth companies across the Asia landscape with an income element is absolutely available for investors.
Yes, absolutely. And I really think that this is something that's unique to this region because of how diverse it is. You have some of the more developed markets that are perhaps a bit more stable, and then you have the fast-growing markets within Asia as well that can give you that whole balance across the spectrum of opportunities. And that's why it's such an exciting time to be operating Asia income at this point.
That's fantastic. I love the conviction, Christina. I love the conviction. That's why we're all big fans of yours. So, as it goes, it's punchline. Tell us about yourself, your core philosophy as an investor, because that matters, and why invest with Christina and the Asia Equity Income Strategy.
Well, I would say that I respect probability. You know, it's not about ego for me. You have to account for the fact that sometimes you will get some calls wrong. And in order to do that, and because you account for that, you're able to construct portfolios that deliver on the outcomes of income and alpha in spite of that. And that's a really important point for me, because in respecting probability, you're respecting that old retiree that's entrusted you with their life savings.
Amazing.
And that's an important point to keep in mind.
That's awesome. It was great to have you here. Look forward to chatting more. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much
Enjoy
for
the
having
Friday.
me.